just picked out a random video and I wanted to watch it. I've been watching a lot of scary stuff just because I feel like scary stuff is kind of entertaining right now. I don't know. I mean, I could watch this stuff on politics and whatnot, but straight. But hey, the most disturbing internet media iceberg. Let's check it out. Of course, the channel is Abyss Detective. I did want to do this one, but I don't know if I want to watch alt stuff. So yeah.
Time for a munch, crunch, crunch, munch, munch.
That's creepy.
I eat little baby's ice cream. It
Also,
keeps me young.
creepy.
It keeps me light on my feet.
Wasn't that an ad or something? Creepy ad though.
Let's start with the strange and slowly make our way to the most disturbing pieces of media on the internet. I made this iceberg myself, and trust me, this gets terrifying fast. Let's start at the tip of the iceberg.
How about we not start at all? Why did I decide
Level
to record
1.
this video?
Happy Tree Friends. One of the most well-known entries on this iceberg, Happy Tree Friends is an adult animated web series created by Aubrey Ancrum, Rode Montijo, and Ken Navarro. While I described it as well-known, infamous might be a better word for it, as Happy Tree Friends was created to be deceptively cutesy, almost obnoxious, before shocking its viewers with some of the worst, or best, animated gore you'll ever see. Yeah, Happy Tree Friends relies solely on its subversive shock value. Every episode follows the same formula of starting peacefully, pretending to be an edutainment cartoon, with their characters living their own lives, and ending with most or all of them dead. What leads to the violence and death on screen is usually something very minor. One of the characters trips and cracks its skull on a rock, or another one of them goes crazy and kills everybody. In true serialized cartoon fashion, there isn't much of a story that isn't introduced and resolved in the same episode. Once you get used to it, watching the show either becomes fun or you start dreading it a little. Some people can't turn away from all the gore, while others really enjoy it. And that's the genius of Happy Tree Friends. The web series aired its first episode on December 24th, 1999 on the Mondo Media website. The first 2 seasons were web series, with the 3rd season premiering on Comic-Con 2006 as a whole television show. Happy Tree Friends lasted until 2017, airing a 5th season called Still Alive. The show's popularity waned over the years as people's humor changed to something more modern, but it was never truly forgotten. How could it be? The Kid and the Camera. The Kid and the Camera is a successful short horror film created by YouTuber Grumbled Inc. Entertainment. It was uploaded on January 15, 2023 and has since amassed 3.5 million views.
Damn.
The Kid and the Camera is also one of only 3 videos on Grumbled Inc. Entertainment, which is unfortunate as the creator seems highly talented. The Kid and the Camera tells the story of a boy named Kalen and the fairy-like creature known as Kipsneed. On his 6th birthday, Kalen received a photo camera and developed a love for photography. He took pictures of everything that caught his eye until one day his camera broke. Kalen was crushed and couldn't sleep, but that same night he was visited by the Kipsneed. Kalen is immediately skeptical of the creature. Kipsneed is able to silence his doubts by claiming that it was no stranger since it knew Kalen's name.
I even know your name, Kayla.
Kipsneed claims to know a place where Kalen's camera can be fixed, and all he needs to do is follow the Kipsneed into the woods. Kalen agrees and follows the fairy deep into the forest. I won't spoil the ending since you can easily find and watch the original 7-minute short film for free on YouTube. But it's a very good watch, surprisingly well made and thought out as it builds tension with its quiet atmosphere. The short has a stop-motion animation and video quality style reminiscent of 90s children's shows. That adds another layer of horror, as any teenager or adult could see through Kipsneed's obviously creepy demeanor, but a child could be fooled by something or someone like him and end up as Kalen did. Level 2.
Getting shivers
Cursed
already.
Teletubbies hospital photo. You might have seen this photo
No
before.
eyes.
A kid in a hospital bed surrounded by 4 of the creepiest Teletubbies you've ever seen.
That is
The
true.
Cursed Teletubbies photo is an internet classic that has been around for almost a decade now. Many people have tried to investigate further into it, but the trail always begins and ends in the same place. The image was first posted by user JF1984 in the r/creepy subreddit. The post has since been deleted. Speaking with JF1984 yields little more information. All we know is that he took a photo of it in the hallway of a British hospital. The photo was in a children's ward on a board titled Celebrities Who's Visited Us. Trying to research elements in the picture also yields little to no results. We can extract from the image that the people sent to cheer this poor kid were probably using bootleg costumes. On the other hand, it's not like it's hard to make the Teletubbies appear creepy. The internet has taken notice of that, as this image in particular has been edited multiple times to appear scarier, not to mention how many Teletubbies-themed creepypastas you can find. The photo remains a mystery, as it should. Another unexplained thing added to the pile of weird, unsettling things you can find online. Sitting and Smiling. Sitting and Smiling is one of the most interesting video series you'll find on YouTube. Every Sitting and Smiling video is nothing more than 4 hours of endurance artist Benjamin Bennett sitting and smiling. Really, Benjamin has created and uploaded exactly 327 of these videos. 1,308 hours of non-stop smiling while staring right into the camera without saying a word. It is safe to say that many people find these videos unsettling. There have been a few awkward moments, like when someone walked on Benjamin doing his little routine, but nothing was creepy about it. As stated before, these videos are a form of endurance art. Endurance art is a performance art involving some form of hardship, such as pain, solitude, or exhaustion. You can see this in a few raw moments during his videos when he breaks into tears but remains smiling or urinates himself.
Why did he suddenly just start crying?
It's kind of hard to watch, but it shows Benjamin's commitment. On the other hand, what Benjamin is doing is a form of meditation, and apparently, after an hour or more of doing it, you should be able to just drift off and lose track of time. Now, that is if meditation works on you to begin with. In his videos, Benjamin Bennett has since transitioned to walking and talking in a new series he calls Walking and Talking. Hopefully you are interested in checking out what Benjamin is really like. Level 3. Username 666. Username 666, like a good amount of early 2000s and 2010s internet mysteries, has made quite an impression on people. Its visuals are disturbing and frankly very impressive for the time. The video has long since been revealed to be nothing more than an art project by Japanese YouTuber Nana825763. Yet it has left such an impression on people that quite a few internet users still aren't sure if this is fake. If you watch the video, you will see that everything that happens is unlikely to happen when accessing the internet. But the mystique the internet had back in the day is something difficult to understand. You just feel it. Nowadays, people are more concerned about deep web hackers and their favorite internet celebrities being perverts. Back in the day, you'd find plenty of users worried if they could get mind-controlled by aliens, making zombie apocalypse survival plans, and so on. The internet was a wild place, and to some, magical. On a different note, while we know that the video is just a harmless creation of a talented artist, we can't forget that we have something very similar today. ARGs, analog horror, and others owe much to username 666, who crawled so newer projects could walk. Nana825763 uploads frequently to this day. He hasn't stopped doing horror, and he is also working on a horror game and making dev diaries about it. Dollthing.jpg. Like the falling ghost photo, dollthing.jpg is another internet relic from the early 2000s. It has scared people, been forgotten, and unearthed multiple times over its 20 or so years of existence. We know very little about it, unfortunately, and with little concrete information, it's difficult to tell a single story, but at the same time, it adds to dollthing.jpg's creepiness. We know the image has been around since 2004 and originated in Japan. User Another R first posted it on December 25th on a Japanese blog called xblog.jp. Another R also wrote on his post that if you don't repost the picture into another forum at the end of the year, bad things will happen, and claimed that there were many people that died from not reposting it. Soon after, 2chan and Nico Nico Doga, a Japanese social media, began making parodies of the image. This led to both the parodies and the original image spreading outside Asia and the rest of the world. In the West, many users associated the image with the Gurgles and Bugman creepypasta, or Facebook user Annibarbara's Genocide. Annibarbara's Genocide is its own rabbit hole, as this user was infamous for posting gore and other illegal content on their account. But we eventually did find the original image that was edited into dollthing.jpg. It is this old, broken Japanese doll. The doll is creepy enough that it could spawn another creepypasta, funnily enough. Fresno Nightcrawler. While you might not recognize them by the name Fresno Nightcrawlers, it sounds pretty intimidating, you've probably seen them before. The Fresno Nightcrawler is the name given to those goofy pants-shaped creatures spotted on a home security camera all the way back in 2007.
This is a first.
When you talk about Fresno Nightcrawlers, you also open a whole can of worms,
I try to stay
as
away
there
from
is
creepy
surprising
shit.
evidence and debate around these creatures. As the name suggests, these little guys were first spotted in Fresno, California, but have been spotted in other US states like Montana and even in Europe. Still, most serious cryptid experts consider any sightings outside of Fresno a hoax. It's called the Fresno Nightcrawler for a reason, but that's just one aspect of the creature. What is a Fresno Nightcrawler? Specialists debate if it's an alien life form, a magical being, or a runaway bedsheet. The man who first registered the Nightcrawler, Jose, even had paranormal investigators show up at his house. They attempted to capture more footage of the creatures and debunk the footage. They couldn't find any proof that the Fresno Nightcrawler was real and couldn't theorize what it might have been. To some extent, the Fresno Nightcrawler does exist, but in the hearts and minds of the locals who have embraced the creature as part of a local folklore. People have made drawings and plushies of the Nightcrawlers because they are so adorable. So even if they're not out there, they still have an impact on the world. And if you want to make an impact, you can do so by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. My Way Killings. My Way is the English language version of the French song Comme d'habitude, released by Frank Sinatra in 1969. The original song was written by Jacques Revaux, Gilles Tabou, and Claude François in 1967. The My Way Killings are inexplicable events linked by the fact that the song was playing while the crimes were committed. They happened in the Philippines from 2000 to 2010, and it's estimated that around 12 people were victims of it. The killings gained notoriety on May 29, 2007, when 25-year-old Jean-Marc Arambuyatan was shot dead by a bouncer at a bar in San Mateo, Rizal. The bouncer stated that he killed John using his service weapon when he went off-key while singing My Way and struggled to get back on track. And yes, the story makes no sense, like many of the explanations given to the case. Experts have attempted to explain what happened by correlating the song's lyrics to a heightened state of aggression. Karaoke is very popular in the Philippines, as it is in many Asian countries, and the country does have a rather high murder rate. So, while not as exciting, it's likely a coincidence that the song played during those crimes and was not the reason they were committed. Junji Ito's work. Modern horror is not often considered a work of genius, with movies and games often relying on cheap tricks like jump scares and CGI gore to try to shock the audience. Enter Junji Ito, a 61-year-old Japanese manga artist known for his outstanding talent when it comes to telling mind-bending horror stories and drawing some of the most grotesque things you'll see with incredible artistry. Though you likely know him, his works such as Tomie, Uzumaki, and Gyo are universally recognized as masterpieces. Junji Ito was born on July 31, 1963 in Sakushita, Japan. He began his experience in the horror world at a very young age, with his first manga being Mummy Teacher by Kazuo Umetsu. He began drawing manga at the age of 4, taking inspiration from the works he read in magazines. He continued to draw as a hobby until he became a dental technician in 1984. In 1987, he submitted a short story to Monthly Halloween that won an honorable mention in the Katsuo Umetsu Prize. This story ran for 13 years and was later serialized as Tomie. From there, his manga career took off. Besides Gyo, Tomie, and Uzumaki, you might also know Junji Ito from his slightly less famous but equally good works such as The Enigma of Amigara Fault, Hellstar Remina, and The Thing That Drifted Ashore. However, those are just a few more of his many works, as Junji Ito is a prolific writer. His works blend cosmic horror with thought-provoking stories that I just can't recommend enough.
No way you see a ghost and you pop out and take a
PlayStation
picture.
3 Creepy Baby. If you grew up around the early 2000s, you might have seen and perhaps only partially remember this commercial. The 29-second commercial features a baby doll laughing, whispering in the tongue of demons, and crying as it stares at the brand new PS3. Creepy sci-fi sounds play in the background as we're subjected to this surreal experience. The commercial ends with the tagline, "Play Beyond," and a strange cipher. So, what was that? The ad was created by Sony's long-term partner TBWA, an international advertising agency known for its imaginative commercials. TBWA has been producing weird and sometimes disturbing stuff like the crying baby commercial since the 90s, and the PS3's marketing campaign was nothing out of the ordinary for them. Inspired by an art exhibition called Ecstasy in and about altered states, they aimed to create ads that would capture the viewer's imagination using surreal imagery. And that's what they did. The creepy baby is meant to symbolize all the feelings interacting with the PS3's high-tech features could elicit in a human being. Turns out that what it elicited in many of us was fear, and created a few repressed memories. But it must have sold quite a few PS3s. Level 4. Real Demons Caught on Tape. Real Demons Caught on Tape is an internet oddity that exists in two forms: the original video and part of a movie. Originally posted by Chester Tyler 714 on January 29, 2009, the video shows hands coming out of the walls and ceiling of a dark room before an entity made out of the same hands jump scares the cameraman. The video is 1 minute long, and in the description, the uploader claims that it is actual proof of the supernatural. But is it really? Well, there is a movie from 2012 called VHS that features a segment that is eerily similar in style and quality to the paranormal activity seen in Real Demons Caught on Tape. It was created by Justin Martinez and many other talented people. Someone asked him about Chester Tyler 714's video. The video had been featured in a Cracked article, and Justin had this to say: "I was pretty blown away by that. The video is 4 years old, and in their opinion, nothing has beaten it." While not explicit, it does confirm that it is Justin's creation. We don't know how Chester Tyler 714 got his hands on it or where it originated, but the video was featured on Adult Swim's Off the Air, where Justin is credited as its creator. But yes, it's just CGI and a lot of creativity.
Adult Swim, usually whenever I watched Adult Swim, it would usually come on at night. So imagine just past 12, like 10. It didn't really come on at 10, but sometimes it did. So like 10, 11, 12. And then you see that shit just pop up in hands. Like, I'm not going to sleep after that, bro. What
No
the fuck?
demons were hurt during the making of this video. Japanese Kleenex commercial. This Japanese Kleenex commercial, dubbed the Ogre Baby commercial, features actress Keiko Matsuzaka and an unnamed baby dressed as an Oni. Oni are ogre-like creatures from Japanese mythology. The commercial consists of Keiko and the Oni baby investigating a box of Kleenex tissues, Keiko playing with the baby and the wind blowing a tissue away. The song It's a Fine Day by Jane plays in the background, making the commercial weirdly soothing. After watching and describing the commercial, is it really that scary? Sure, it's weird, but there's nothing wrong with it. But don't let that apparent harmlessness fool you. Some people on the internet got unnerved by it. Stories about the commercial being cursed have since surfaced. Rumor has it that the commercial will become a satanic nightmare if you watch it at midnight, and that Keiko Matsuzaka died shortly after participating.
It's not midnight, so hey,
I
it's
watched it at
2:24.
midnight and haven't seen anything different, nor has Keiko died. Keiko Matsuzaka is alive and well. I couldn't pinpoint a source of origin for any of those claims, but since the commercial is Japanese, I expect their origin to be lost in some Japanese blog from the early 2000s. The whole thing doesn't make much sense and quickly falls apart with some simple research and experimentation. It could be that I'm already too cursed from doing all the other demonic videos I've watched.
I'm dead. They cancel each other out.
Canal 5 Mexico. Canal 5 is a Mexican television network owned by Televisa Univision. It was created in Mexico City in 1952. Canal 5's program lineup is targeted at a younger audience. It usually airs cartoons, series, and movies along with a limited number of sporting events like NFL games, boxing, and the FIFA World Cup. In recent years, Canal 5's Twitter page has started posting strange and disturbing posts. Stuff that is completely out of character for a channel targeting a younger audience. The posts typically happen between 3 a.m. and get deleted a few hours later. Some examples of posts include Michael Rosen's lunchtime song, though horribly distorted, and whatever
That's
this
creepy.
is. The posts have been investigated and widely shared on Mexican social media. Infobay Mexico, a Mexican news site, contacted one of the collaborators of Channel 5 who claimed they did not know the disturbing posts. Channel 5 also aired the infamous Celine Delgado Lopez missing girl report, which proves they aren't strangers to creepy content. The Selena Lopez case is another rabbit hole that could be another entry on this video on its own. Basically, Selena Delgado Lopez might be a missing person who may or may not even exist. Otherwise, this is where it ends. The creepy posts ended as abruptly as they started, and nowadays the situation seems to have been largely forgotten. Little Baby's Ice Cream. More unsettling than the PS3 commercial, Little Baby's ice cream commercial is just that, a commercial, but a bizarre, surreal one at that. It's only a minute long, but it leaves quite the impression. The commercial is both creepy and disgusting, while not in reality featuring anything like death or blood. Considering the state of modern media, this is remarkable. The commercial stars a person covered in ice cream eating it out of their head. All the while, an American Psycho-style narrator waxes poetic about eating ice cream and how it keeps him young and full of energy, like a baby.
I eat little baby's ice cream. It keeps me young.
That's creepy.
It keeps
too.
me light on my
But not
feet.
as creepy
The
as the other
whole
one.
thing
This one is
is
just
strange,
weird.
odd, and difficult to react to because it's a very unconventional form of advertising your brand and products. Ultimately, there isn't too much more to
It's
the
like that
commercial.
one dude
it's
who
just
does-
one of Little Baby's ice cream's
I remember
many
a dude
weird,
on TikTok
off-putting
doing
commercials.
that. I forgot.
Marketing techniques like these are meant to capture people's imaginations and generate
What
buzz,
his name was,
which,
but he
to be
was
honest, they are very effective at. Unfortunately for the Philadelphia-based ice cream shop,
Like he would just eat like a burger and then turn into a burger or some shit like that. I don't know. And then he did it all in his car. Remember, he was black. That's all I remember about him.
It wasn't enough to save them from closing their doors in 2019. Sleep well, little baby. Unedited footage of a bear. Unedited footage of a bear is 1% footage of a bear and 99% bizarre, surreal, and downright genius anti-drug PSA. Unedited footage of a bear is difficult to describe. There is a story, but what happens in the 10-minute video is closer to a stream of consciousness. It suddenly transitions from bear to commercial to action horror. It's mainly concerned with depicting addiction, its causes and consequences through the lens of a mother addicted to Claradrill. I believe Claradrill is meant to be a riff on Benadryl. Narrating these events doesn't do the video justice. The video also has a couple of moments that don't make any sense, even keeping the theme of addiction in mind, so that doesn't help. Other moments, like the woman being attacked by her evil twin, are easier to understand as she struggles with and caves into her addiction. Then, there is just chaotic stuff that I think is just meant to show the kind of erratic behavior someone who is under the influence or suffering from withdrawal is capable of. There is a third layer to all of this.
Finger guns.
Text of the use of Claradrill, its effects and side effects that starts during the commercial part and continues throughout the video. It gives context to what's happening and foreshadows future events in the video. So yes, unedited footage of a bear is dense for a PSA, but also a masterpiece that can be watched for free on YouTube. The Catman of Greenock. This urban legend from Scotland is very strange, stranger than you might expect. We have proof that it exists, but we also have enough evidence to suggest that things are not as they seem. The original story goes that in the 70s, a Russian sailor abandoned his ship on Greenock Harbor due to his mental health struggles and a fight with other sailors. The sailor became homeless, was attacked by locals at some point, and refused to receive medical treatment or shelter. This unnamed Russian man lived in the area for years, crawling with broken legs and unable to speak due to a broken jaw. He reportedly lived with a pack of wild cats and seems to think he is one. There are quite a few pictures and videos of him. Most of them were shot on the worst cameras money can buy, making this unfortunate soul look like a demon. This was not lost on locals who used the story of the Catman to scare misbehaving children. However, older locals date the story much earlier than the 70s. The Catman of Greenock may have been around since the 40s, meaning he'd have to be at least 95 years old by the time he was last spotted in 2017. It is unlikely that someone would live to be 95 under those conditions, but let's say it really happened in the 70s. The Catman would have been 62 by the time he was last seen, and once again, he wouldn't be able to last very long like this. However, even if there are problems with the story, there is or has been a Catman of Greenock, one way or another. Possessed girl found on subway. Possessed girl found on subway begins with two friends casually exploring a subway tunnel, apparently on their way back home. They talk very openly and seem unafraid, that is, until they find a girl convulsing and screaming on the ground. She rolls around, bleeds, and even begins stabbing herself with a sharp object as the two friends debate what to do. They wisely decide to leave, but it's too late, and the girl charges them.
Oh shit.
The whole video is visceral and disturbing, the likes of which you wouldn't find on YouTube unless it was buried in the depths of the platform. Ironically, that is where I found it. This video, Possessed Girl Found on Subway, differs slightly from other entries because there is no info on it. There are a few explanations, but we have no information on how long it has been around the internet, where it was filmed and by whom, or what happened to the people in it. It's a real mystery that I couldn't find the origin. This brings us to the question, is it real? Well, could this be definitive proof that demons are real? I don't know. Commenters had quite a few explanations, like the girl was high on bath salts or flakka, which is from a movie, that can get users in a state of aggression similar to that. To be honest, disturbing and raw as it is, I really think it's just an art project. I should add, one done by very talented people, but there is no objective evidence of demonic possession. Video dating tape. This 3.5-minute long video stars Tony, a 46-year-old man, 5'10", entrepreneur and businessman from Maidenhead, England. Tony, currently single, seeks someone to share his luxury lifestyle with. He needs someone willing to disappear for a long time and who wants to spend the rest of their life with him.
Someone that doesn't mind disappearing for a long period of time.
He also finishes the video by asking any suitors to send their information to the address on the screen.
Please send a photo with your age, name and location to the address at the end of this video.
Tony is quite the bachelor, but the devil is in the details. Besides the obvious weird things going on, like when we hear screams in the background and Tony angrily lashing out at someone, his speaking reveals his true evil intentions. Tony sounds like he has a killer personality, but doesn't win any awards as a host, as we have seen how he treats his guests. I speak with such levity because this video dating tape is one of the more obvious examples of an art project. Why would Tony keep those terrible outtakes? Or him angrily lashing out at a victim and becoming increasingly more agitated? And besides, the editing also gives away the true nature of video dating tape with its cuts to old commercials. But kudos to Tony for making something genuinely unnerving using only subtext and subtle hints of what kind of person his character is. Transfiguration. Transfiguration is the name of a performance by French artist Olivier de Saint-Germain, where he covers himself in clay and molds the clay on his body. While not very scary in context, it's still kind of creepy. Olivier does get a little intense while doing it, and he also molds some weird faces, though that's probably because he can't see or breathe with clay on his head. When he can see, what he makes is straight up nightmare fuel. Out of context, this could be confused with a serial killer's routine. Olivier de Saint-Germain's art is mainly focused on the human body, its inner workings, and what happens after it all stops: death. His performances all have this strange theatrical quality while also being a raw expression of humanity. In some of them, he even goes so far as to set parts of himself on fire, though clay and mud protect his body from burns. His sculptures often look like rotting carcasses and definitely aren't for everybody, much less people with weak stomachs. Olivier has a YouTube channel and a website where you can see more of his work and learn more about him if you speak French. I recommend checking out his stuff if you enjoy alternative ideas of aesthetics and beauty.
I can mostly understand what they're saying.
Level 5. Creepy PSAs. We've all seen this one before. A creepy, gut-wrenching, and violent public service announcement. These are meant to get a message through supposedly thick skulls. Some go above and beyond and are legitimate nightmare fuel made worse because you often don't expect it. And they tend to be well crafted, unlike some cheap jump scares you'd see in modern movies. While pretty much every country has its collection of PSAs that could easily be included here, this entry would be too long to list that many of them, so here's a selection of some of my favorites. Top Chef is straight up awful to watch. It features what must be a frighteningly common workplace accident in restaurants, actual blood-curdling horror derived from something very plausible in that scenario. Slipping on the floor and have boiling water you're carrying burn your exposed skin. The tape's story is different because it tells a bit of a story. It draws parallels between a worker and a piece of tape that was left to patch up some kind of high-pressure pipe. The PSA ends without any graphic depiction of violence, but it's so sudden that the tape bursts when someone is walking by. What gets you, besides how sudden the PSA ends, is imagining just what kind of injury something like that would cause. They didn't show it in a PSA video, so it's probably straight up horrific. This British PSA called Judy Knew Her is special, if so to say. It's set up like a horror movie where you think Judy and her family might be by the person in the van, only for it to hit you with a switcheroo right at the end. And it's not obviously a PSA, so you could watch that on TV and get an actual scare seeing something this suddenly horrifying. Lack of red paddocks causes imminent splats is a French commercial about, well, a man getting crushed by unsecured industrial machinery. This one was rather subdued for a PSA, and the dummy they used was pretty comical too, so that's why I like it. It's a definite change of pace for PSAs to try and shock you, but also appeal to you in a different way. I just don't know if it was intentional. But hey, that's one way to get your point across. Dining Room or There Is Nothing. Created by YouTuber David Earl, Dining Room or There Is Nothing is something. The imagery is creepy. The doll-like lady and the hellish fire outside will give you the chills, but its message makes it truly unnerving and scary. Exactly 1 minute long, the video has the doll lady saying something incomprehensible, face-planting, and getting back up as if the footage was reversed. She now says, "There is nothing." According to the creator, this is meant to be an existentialist message, one of hopelessness conveyed in a very interesting way. This is what makes this video special. It's not only meant to be scary, but also soul-crushing. Death is inevitable, but the uncertainty of life is balanced with the idea that maybe death is not the end. In Dining Room or There Is Nothing, death is the end. This video has become more famous for being taken out of context and scattered in places around the internet to make it look like someone unearthed some kind of demented movie from the abyss. You might even have seen it before by yourself in compilations or being horribly overreacted to by another YouTuber. Oh! To some extent, it's scarier when you actually know what it's about than when you don't. Obey the Walrus. Obey the Walrus is bizarre. Bizarre in a way that you don't often see on the internet. The video, which is 1 minute and 20 seconds long, first appeared on YouTube in 2007, posted by the now deleted channel Obey the Walrus. The video features an animated image of Andros from Star Fox, some psychedelic patterns, and footage of American drag queen Goddess Bunny. At the same time, a Spanish rendition of The Itsy Bitsy Spider plays in the background. And in the end, we are confronted with it, a PNG of a normal walrus. What even happened? That's a good question. Nobody knows, and the internet at the time wasn't ready for the walrus. Obey the Walrus became huge and went on some sort of power trip, creating a cult of personality around themselves, going rogue, and resulting in what can be called a YouTube Greek tragedy. The video itself became the subject of much speculation as it was erroneously attributed to a cult called La Morsa, the Walrus, which was just made up. So ultimately, Obey the Walrus was a huge mess. It's hard to talk about it because there's not that much to say about it. A bit of a nothing burger when you look under the surface. And there are also only so many ways to say that the creator was a horrible, horrible person with an inflated ego. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is a musical horror comedy web series created by Becky Sloan and Joe Pell. The series is known for its blend of surrealism and dark humor with horror and musical elements. Its animation combines puppetry, live action, and stop motion with traditional forms. The original series consisted of 6 short episodes released on YouTube from the 29th of July 2011 to the 19th of June 2016. Due to its popularity, a television series was released in 2022. The television series discusses jobs, death, family, and more mature subjects. Each episode starts like a typical children's series. They feature anthropomorphic puppets like those in Sesame Street or The Muppets. The series parodies children's TV shows by contrasting its childlike environment against its disturbing themes. Each episode features a surreal plot twist in the climax. These plot twists include graphic violence, dark humor, existentialism, and psychological horror. The web series received widespread critical acclaim. The television series was met with similar acclaim. Give them both a watch, or at least the web series since it's free on YouTube.
I will not be doing that.
Mouse.avi.
What is this?
Mouse.avi is an instantly recognizable internet relic from the 2010s, though
haven't seen
not
this.
for the reasons you might expect. The background sound of the video is actually the same one used for the Mr. Incredible Becoming Uncanny meme, the uncanny part at least, and that's actually a perfect representation of Mouse.avi. It's a creepypasta in a video that terrorized many of us as a kid, but it's mostly forgotten nowadays. But what was it about? The creepypasta is a nameless narrator talking about one Leonard Moulton, a collector who was watching old Disney cartoons. He was trying to make a digital copy of one of them to put on DVD and somehow uncovered new footage. Dark, twisted imagery of Mickey walking around aimlessly as hellish screaming and wailing filled the otherwise silent cartoon, and the quality of the film degraded. The 9 extra minutes of footage ended abruptly with a message in Russian that translates to, "The sights of hell bring its viewers back in." The movie was hidden at Disney HQ, and animators who saw it either ended their lives or tried to leak it to the rest of the world. And now someone finally did it. Maybe not quite. The video that accompanied the text was deleted, but there are a few recreations by talented people. Nowadays, stuff like that doesn't quite scare people. It actually gives them a sense of nostalgia as they look back on how much their taste in horror has evolved since then. But hey, Mickey Mouse is now in the public domain, so nothing stops you from making a depressed, evil version of him. Level 6. Memory Hole. The Memory Hole YouTube channel is a mess. A confusing mess of old VHS tapes cobbled together into bizarre little clip shows. Nowadays it's pretty tricky to tell, but back in the day, the channel used to be called the Film Archives. The channel had a completely different theme and purpose, apparently hosting historical documentaries and films, and, at least according to the people who remember it, the Film Archives was pretty well regarded in terms of content quality. Once again, in contrast to the weirdness of its current incarnation. Or maybe not. Rather confusingly, there might once have been another channel, or maybe not. There's at least one Reddit thread that links Memory Hole to the Film Archives, and the few people who commented on it seem to be sure these two have something to do with the other. However, doing a little more research also presents a completely different story. Apparently, the channel was created by the people behind Everything is Terrible, an artist collective from LA that finds, edits, and compiles clips from old VHS tapes. Vice managed to find and contact one of their editors, Commodore Gilgamesh. The Commodore gave them an interview in which he pretty much explained everything and dispelled any doubts you could have about the channel. The Memory Hole, much like Everything is Terrible, it's just a place where they store edited footage from old home videos the team had access to. According to Commodore Gilgamesh, they have the world's most extensive and well-organized library of home videos. The team got access to it due to their connections to a famous television show. Yes, some of the content is creepy and unsettling, but that's the point. These are restored clips of content that otherwise would not have made it to television. And that's it. No haunted tapes, just people having fun. But what about the Film Archives? No idea.
Imagine just being there doing that.
Look at the clown.
Have you ever said a word
Look
so
at
much
the
that
Clown.
it just starts
A
sounding
child
like
therapy
nothing?
program is a 220-second-long crime in video format. Uploaded by American visionary Ronald Yoder American Classics to his channel of the same name. Look at the Clown is both absurdist comedy and horror. It plays on the fear of clowns that many people have to create one of the most unsettling experiences I have ever seen on the platform. Ronald Yoder American Classics, inspired by renowned child psychologist, which is supposedly the famous actress Tilda Swinton, creates this video for his son, Ronald Yoder Jr., who's afraid of clowns and may be missing. After watching it, I don't know if it could make anyone less afraid of clowns. The video is 9 years old, and surprisingly, Ronald Yoder posts every couple of months. His channel is not dead, and after watching some of his videos, I can safely say that I don't get him or his motives. All of Yoder's videos are absurdist comedies that reveal little about him. He seems to be aware of Look at the Clown's popularity. He's even made fun of iceberg videos covering the video and his channel.
Thank you to YouTube's users, Chill Fuel, for mentioning me in his icebergs video.
He has also parodied his most infamous video in other more creative ways.
Thank you, Mr. Chillfuel, for further cementing my legacies as the creepy clown man of YouTubes.com.
Some people, Yoder included, seem to think that this video was one of the earliest forms of analog horror. While I can't verify any of these claims, I can guarantee that nobody should look at the clowns. Alan Tutorials. Created by Alan Resnick in 2011, Alan Tutorials is a channel that instructs its viewers on how to successfully perform nonsensical tasks, such as how to leak on a piece of paper, how to make mail into a square, and how to make a windmill. How to make a windmill is my favorite because by the end you don't actually make a windmill, but you hear Alan trying to explain how to make it work. As time passed, some strange videos were uploaded to the channel. Videos such as how to escape a dark room and find light, how to eat light spin salad, and a few more all began to show up on his channel, making some of his viewers think Alan might have been kidnapped and escaped using the skills he developed through his tutorials. Alan hasn't uploaded for a decade, and the last time we saw him, he was trying to escape from a room covered in trash.
And it's yours.
What the hell?
What happened to him? We do know. Alan Resnick is a comedian, visual artist, and filmmaker. He's a member of Wham City Art Collective and a founding member of Wham City Comedy. Alan is also the voice, arms, and legs behind Alan Tutorials. The whole channel is an art project that mixes absurdist comedy and horror, which actually caught some people off guard in the 2010s. It's excellent and worth a watch today. Save Them, Jesus. Save Them, Jesus is a 1 minute and 10-second long video that shows an image of Jesus. The image quality decays, giving it an evil, demonic look. His head begins to spin like you'd see in an Exorcist movie, all the while bizarre sounds play in the background. The video ends with a message that says, "Do you love helping others? Do you love praying for others? Well, why not those who are suffering in hell? They need it the most. Do they really deserve such unimaginable eternal pain? But if you want to end their suffering, you'll have to oppose God. He won't erase hell, no matter how much we ask." While the image is unsettling and satanic, the text has a more skeptical tone, as if the creator is trying to cast doubt if people are as good as they think, and if God is as merciful as he seems. Save Them, Jesus was originally uploaded by Imaginedom, a YouTube channel created in 2016 and deleted shortly after. Imaginedom's videos all have this unsettling tone to them, and their channel, as related by them, was the victim of a mass flagging done by children, it seems. To some extent, Imaginedom's videos are indeed disturbing, and the message of skepticism is dense, but ultimately, this was something of an art project. Imaginedom wanted to make people question things through his unsettling imagery, which is a valid form of artistic expression. While the channel has long since been deleted, you can find all of its videos on the Internet Archive. So if you're up for a bit of shock philosophy, you might want to check Imaginedom's videos. Level 7. Cooking with Huck Botko. Cooking with Huck Botko is difficult to talk about. It's actually hard to say if the footage is fictional or not, as the delivery is extremely deadpan.
Good food
and you
or
see
no?
a good amount of the disgusting stuff actually happening on camera. Huck Botko's videos are a part of the Ensuring Your Place in Hell DVD film collection made probably in 2010 by an anonymous person. The DVD contains 4 minimal films combined, including the infamous Grave Robbing for Morons, the obscure Mortuary of the Dead, Cooking with Huck Botko, and the bizarre Exploding Varmints. Ensuring Your Place in Hell is an exceedingly rare DVD that will go for outrageous prices online if you can find it at all. On the other hand, it's a goldmine for people who enjoy morbid, horror-adjacent entertainment. There are 5 videos in total, though only 4 of them are related to cooking. Since we'll focus on the cooking ones, I'll briefly summarize the unrelated one. Huck tries to pass an STI to a girl he dislikes through a harebrained scheme. He fails and does awful things to her personal belongings. In the first film, he bakes a cake for his dad, paying people to spit on the batter. In the second one, he makes a cheesecake for his mother using roadkill. In the third one, he makes a fruitcake for his sister using contaminated human blood and gives it to her during a party where many other people eat it too. And in the fourth and final film, he makes a green pie for his brother using semen. His whole family ate it this time.
That's fucking disgusting.
Going back to Huck Botko for a moment, he is a legitimate film director and screenwriter.
That's disgusting as fuck.
We don't have that much info on him. Everything he and his friends do in the videos is realistically nasty. Things that could inspire terrible people looking to get back at someone else. He also has an X account, though Huck hasn't posted for over a decade and a half. There isn't anything particularly entertaining about him there, so we are left in the dark. Ignorance is a blessing, after all. Protect and Survive. Protect and Survive was a public information campaign produced by the British government between 1974 and 1980. It advised the public on how to protect themselves during a nuclear attack and consisted of pamphlets, newspaper advertisements, radio broadcasts, and public information films. Protect and Survive had originally been intended for distribution only in the event of a national emergency. Protect and Survive was adapted for television as a series of 20 short public information films. The films were classified and intended for transmission on all television channels if the government determined that a nuclear attack was likely within 72 hours. Richard Taylor Cartoons produced the films, which were ready for use by at least 1975. The episodes are similar in content to other material produced by the campaign. It's unclear how, but people did manage to get our hands on some of the material. Pamphlets and the 48-minute film have all been unearthed and have since become culturally significant in the UK. Produced during the height of the Cold War, the videos have a certain sterile and eerie tone. Unsettling the viewer is definitely intentional as a way to capture the viewer's attention. While nowadays they are compared to analog horror, these are legitimate guides. They'll teach you how to deal with anything from how nuclear fallout works to disposing of bodies. Watching the videos has a sobering effect. It reminds us how easily the world we take for granted could be taken from us. It's grim. Paris Catacombs footage. This 1-minute video has been around the internet since the early 90s. Perhaps one of the oldest internet mysteries, the video shows a person walking around the catacomb tunnels. As he explores the place, you get a sense that they are growing increasingly uneasy before they start running and drop their camera. The last thing we see is the person, apparently a man, running away. The camera was apparently found by another explorer in one of the deepest parts of the catacombs, still functional. The person who found it, however, is unknown. While the video has fascinated many internet and real-life detectives, there is nothing to prove its authenticity. There's no evidence to suggest that someone got lost down there and recorded their final moments before disappearing. What precious little we have indicates it's just some sort of art project. The only verifiable thing is that, due to the lack of graffiti, the person has to be pretty deep inside the catacombs. Otherwise, anybody could have filmed themselves exploring, running away, and cutting the part where they come back for the camera. The catacombs beneath Paris are a grim place, to say the least.
I don't know why people would go down there.
The bones of 6 million dead people line its walls and litter the ground. Death is everywhere, from alcoves with entire skeletons to bones turned into macabre decorations. The tunnels that would one day make up the vast underground network of tunnels beneath Paris
Didn't some
have been
kids get
around
lost down
since
there?
the 6th century. The catacombs would take the
And, like,
function
one of
we
them
know
died or
them for
something?
today around the 16th century when Paris cemeteries overflowed with human remains. The catacombs have been a source of myths and urban legends ever since. To some extent, this footage is just a modern version of old stories.
Well, yeah. See, you might have been like, why were you so not focused? I did
birth.
say I don't like
That's
scary
dramatic.
stuff, so I would focus here and there, and then I would like lose focus because I don't want to see scary shit. Fire video though, I did recommendation of the Stubby animated movie icebergs. All that messed up animated movies. Maybe. But yeah. Like, subscribe, see you guys later. Hope you have a good day or night, and bye. I don't want to watch no more scary stuff. That's why I'm not watching that cult one. I'm good. See you guys.